I'm coming from company Verso. I'm happy to see so much people here. Verso is Croatian-based company. Headquarters is in Croatia, but we have a local office here in Sarajevo with approximately 20 people here. It's better now? Okay, and today we will talk here about our experience in IoT as lately, so last 2 years, we participated in many IoT deployments in specific part of IoT, which is focused on communication part, so how the data is transferred from the sensor to the application. We are participating in implementation of such communication networks all around the world. So let's share with you our experience and hope later on you will share your experience with us to see what is your experience and how we can compare and maybe do some synergy. Sorry, I heard today this is the second event. Unfortunately, I was not here on the first event. I'm sure there is much more people here than it was on the first event, but it's much less than it will be on third, fifth, and 10th, because I'm sure there will be many more events. These events are really important, especially for the local people, I mean from the region, so we can share experience, we can share our expectations, our roadmaps, and the way how we resolve issues, because there always will be issues, there always will be challenges, different approaches for different challenges can be applied, so let's share this experience, and such events are really good place to do this. We have stand here, we will be here all the day, so whenever you have time to join us, to have discussion with us, you are welcome. Just short history about Verso. As we said, Verso is a Croatian-based company. Today we have around 140 people with offices in the 6 countries in the region. We started as a company focused on the network technology in the telecom environment, upgrade this continually to data center and cloud infrastructure, support everything with the security, support everything with the OSS systems. Lately, as we said, really big focus on IoT, but also focus on BSS part as well, as we see that at least in the telecom business, these converged charging, billing, today e-commerce, CRM parts are really important business aspect of the whole story, of the whole end-to-end solution. How we come to the IoT, where we said we are focused on IoT, but our IoT engagement start with a partnership with French company, which is named Actility. They are world leading company in LoRa technology. LoRa technology is specifically designed wireless protocol for the communication between sensors and the rest of the IoT stack. When we say specifically designed, it means that support low battery consumptions, which is really important. It supports long range. On the open space, we are talking about 15 kilometers, and it supports really high scalability. It means hundreds and thousands devices per base station. So this is importance of LoRa. Later on, we will say a little bit more about this. So for the Actility, with cooperation with them, we are doing their rollout projects, POC projects, all around the world. So just to name some of them, recently, NN&Co in Australia, Spark, and some other companies in New Zealand, IDA in Singapore, and then NTT West in Japan. Soon we should start project for the Comcast in USA. They have really interesting case. We will talk a little bit later on. So after all these rollouts, POCs, and deployments, we also support them for the second level support. Whenever customer has some issue, we have our engineers to support them to resolve their issue. Also, we start recently doing for them part of development and testing. They outsource to us part of the software which needs to be deployed on a gateway site to establish communication between gateway and the network server. So we are dealing this part as well. This is one of the our focus on IoT. Of course, whenever we are talking about potential customers, potential cases, it's not enough just to cover this communication part. So communication part is just one segment of full IoT story. For that matter, we have to cover from the, at least from the architectural and ecosystem establishment part, all the stack. So it means from the sensor, communication, IoT platform, and application. We are system integration company, so it's our job to integrate all these systems together to work and present and provide end-to-end solution. And whenever you have many companies, many vendors which need to be combined into single solution, single outcome to the customer, then you need to do a lot of testing, you need to do a lot of integration. For that matter, we establish our competence center in our office in Zagreb to be able to promptly and reliably test solution what is required to the customer. You know, all of you who is here, I'm sure you know, you heard about the prediction 50 billion devices until 2020. So we all understand potential is really huge. But this journey is not simple. There is no simple magic formula how to be successful in IoT project. So let's share our experience and let's see what you can use for this. If we should take out of all our experience 3 points that are important, not specifically technical. So first of all is technology is not an issue today. When we're talking about IoT, technology is not an issue. We heard just on a previous session, some of the technology is available on the market for 10 or more years. Every day you get new vendors of sensors, of applications, of IoT platforms, communication part. So there is a big chance that whatever solution you choose to develop, there will be at least 10 vendors who offer either sensor you need, either application you need to deploy. Of course, there is possibility that for some specific purpose, you will have to develop something by yourself, some specific sensors, etc. But most likely, whatever you need, technology is available on the market. The next very important part is that at least for this B2B or B2B2C segment, you need to combine many vendors, many components to provide, to build end-to-end solution. So the ecosystem is the really often word used in IoT segment, but for a reason, because you really need to establish ecosystem to provide end-to-end solution. And of course, impact for the IoT, I think it's clear to everybody that it really touches almost every aspect of your life and business. I'm sure that many of you already use some kind of IoT, just not aware, not thinking of IoT, what is behind. Very simple example is probably these activity trackers. A lot of people are running, having sports watch tracker, track the time when you start, when you stop, which path did you pass, how many meters did you run, did you ride a bike, swim, etc. All this information are sent to some cloud in database, analyzed, and on your PC or on your mobile application, you get statistics, you get all the information about your activity. So it is actually IoT in real sense. Just not think about this. Today, this is sports activity tracker. Tomorrow, probably will be your car or something similar. As we said, and as we heard also from Microsoft, it's not about technology. Yes, technology is really important aspect of IoT. It is in the all components, but for the whole story, for the outcome you want to provide, for the result you want to achieve, you have to start from the business aspect and then choose technology which will support your expected outcome. when we start talking to the customer, sometimes it's quite obvious because some customers, they have specific pain points, and then it's really easy to come to the point to start developing technical solution. For example, one of the telecom in the region, they have issue, they have a lot of stealing of manhole covers. So they are from iron, people steal them, and they'll resell them, get some money from them. For the telecom, this is a big issue. First of all, money, they need to replace them with a new one. The other one is safety, because somebody can get into the hole, and it's a big issue. So when you have such issue, when you have such request, it's quite easy to start developing technical solution. The other example maybe from Japan, NTT, why they are deploying LoRa network in Japan. So we all know that in Japan there is really a lot of earthquakes. So they have system for the gas distribution, which has valve in every household, in every apartment, which automatically closed whenever earthquakes start. So to protect, not to have any gas leakage and any danger out of this gas leakage. This works really good, but the problem is when the whole area is secure, they conclude that there is no gas leakage, and then they can open all these valves, then technicians need to go from every apartment to apartment, every household to household, and open this valve manually. It takes for days. So closing, promptly opening takes 4 days. So they want to use IoT to enable even this opening part, the second part, to do it centrally. Once somebody approved that area is safe, to be able to close all these valves, just one click on some application, and in one area, all the valves should be opened. The third example, we were talking to one city in the region, to city deputy mayor, and he said that he needs system which will show them which streets cleaning truck pass through the city. So we said, no problem, this is simple fleet management. It's not any advanced innovative in this. There are a lot of fleet management systems on the market. Whichever you deploy, we'll take for you. And they said, no, this is not good for us. Why? Because we have really creative truck drivers, and we cannot put anything in the truck because their creativity is such that they will find a way how to avoid this. Of course, in such case, you always can find solution with cameras, license plate recognition, integrate all this input from cameras into application and analytics, and provide information, even having onboard device in the truck. This is one side of a discussion where there is the real pain point, easily come to the point where you can start developing technical solution. On the other side, what we see are the customers who know that potential of IoT is really big, that they can achieve some cost saving, achieve some live improvement, achieve some new revenue streams, but they don't know how to start, which service to start. Mostly these are telecoms, because every case for them is a new revenue stream. They have internal knowledge, they have expertise, they have people who are familiar with the whole environment, but the problem is business side, how to start, which case to start. The other group of customers are cities or municipalities who also heard about IoT, what smart city as a part of one of the verticals of IoT how it can help to the city to achieve either cost saving or life improvement, but they don't have usually technical experience enough to be confident and start the service. With such customers, of course, several iterations are needed to find out, to come to the reasonable number of use cases which you start first. Because, initial meeting is 20 cases. Of course, it doesn't make sense to start with 20 or 30 cases. Then you try to group it in the smaller number, but then smaller number, and then after several iterations, you come to the 3, 4 cases which you start first, make POC, prove to the customer that it really works, how it was planned, and the benefits are really how was expected. So usually these expectations are grouped mostly on cost saving. It's interesting to everybody. We all want to achieve some cost saving. New revenue streams, specifically for B2B, B2B or B2C, specifically to telecom providers, or better say service providers, because some of the IoT solution, it's not necessary to be telecom. Or to achieve some live improvements. This is really interesting because this is interesting to the municipality, city, but it's really hard to express with the numbers what is the live improvement. So here you need to be really creative. Once you defined what is the issue you need to resolve, of course you will continue with the components to build the whole solution from the technical side, to see which components you need, which vendors you need to include to be able to provide end-to-end solution. From different sources, you can find different architecture of the end-to-end IoT solution. Somewhere you will see 3 layers, 4 layers, 5, 7, depends. It's not really matter how many layers, it matters which functionality you need to include to provide end-to-end solution. In general, what we are talking about, of course, we are talking about sensors. We need to have some device who will transfer value into the digital signal, which will be sent over the communication part to some either IoT platform or application directly. So IoT platform, from the simple point of view, from single use case, maybe it's not necessary. It will make your life easier, but we will talk a little about this more in detail a little bit later. What is also important, keep in mind, IoT solution is not standalone. It's not for itself. So you always will have to integrate it with some existing systems. If you're talking about telecom environment, then you have full stack of BSS, like e-commerce, like billing and charging, CRM. They will expect you at least to enable interfaces so the existing system can integrate it with them. Or maybe they will expect you to integrate to their to do this integration with their system. So take your time, plan your time to analyze the existing system and see what work you can expect in this integration part. When we talk about sensor as the basic layer, first layer, which is where all the story start, of course, beside the obvious, so what to do, the purpose which is used to, what is important is, will this sensor be supplied by standard power supply, wired power supply, or it needs to work on the battery? And in most of the cases, battery will need to be used, and it really impacts the sensor because of battery life. Battery life, when we're talking about 10 or 20 sensors, it's really not big issue to change the battery every 6 months, for example. Then, you will play tic-tac-toe to choose who will change the batteries every 6 months. But in IoT, we are talking, you remember, 50 billion devices. Changing the battery in thousands of sensors, it's really expensive. It's time-consuming, it's really expensive. For that matter, it's really necessary that sensor battery life is 7+ years. It means it will never be replaced because sensor lifetime is 7, 8, 10 years. So when lifetime of the sensor expire, you will change the sensor and not just the battery. Also, what is next important is communication protocol. So how this communication will be established between the sensor and the application part on the other side. In that matter, today you have on the market, we mentioned already LoRa, which is stated here. So from the LoRa perspective, coverage we set up to 15 kilometers in the open space. In the indoor area, it's go to 1.5, 2 kilometers, depends, are you going underground, then it's going less. Low power, 7, even 10 years, depends on the amount of data which you transfer. Because these devices are active just at the moment they send the data and at the moment they expect central system send them data back. All the other time are just silent. So it really depends on your capacity planning, what will the battery consumption. Cost of the devices, of course, it's always important. And also how many devices you can find on the market. For some protocols you can find more, for some protocol you can find less. And it's not only LoRaWAN, of course, today you have more and more narrowband IoT. From the description, from the standard, it's quite similar to LoRaWAN. And it will also support long battery life, or it supports long battery life. It supports a lot of devices, long reachability, etc. What is the difference between LoRa and narrowband IoT? To some, this is advantage. To some people, this is disadvantage. That LoRaWAN is using unlicensed spectrum. So it means this ISM spectrum, which is 868 megahertz or 433 megahertz, etc. So you basically don't need to have a license to build your LoRa network. Some previous version of narrowband, LTE, which have some advantages, disadvantages. Even these are not all the wireless protocol which exist. For example, you have Zigbee, you have also Wi-Fi. In some cases, it's still useful and applicable. But in terms of deployment, big deployments, when you have to cover the whole city or sometimes even the whole country, of course, we are talking mainly about these two, it's narrowband IoT and LoRaWAN. And when we're talking about these big deployments, for example, what did Orange in France? They covered all the cities in France. KPN is covering all the country. So the whole the Netherlands will be covered by LoRa. Actually, they are just finishing this. They started with 2 cities, of course, but they installed more and more gateways, and then now they're covering the whole country. Proximus in Belgium, also most of the country covered by LoRa. Talent in Germany is doing national rollout as well. IDA in Singapore cover all the countries, all the country. South Korea, yes, they are also start national rollout. NN&Co in Australia, etc. So all these are projects which we are participating. And the case which is in USA for the Comcast, so Comcast is cable operator. So they will use the cable connectivity to the customer as a backhaul. And they built in their set-top box, which is already present at the customer, micro LoRa base station to cover the apartment or household with a LoRa signal. And this LoRa infrastructure then can be used for any smart home case which is suitable for LoRa. Because as we said, LoRa is not suitable for the high capacity cases, so it's not suitable for a video, for example, but most of the cases today you have it at smart home, it is suitable. So with this simple way, they cover all their customers with a signal and make a basement for all the smart home cases which they provide either directly or through their partners. Data rate depends on the vertical and the case which you are considering. Sometimes LoRaWAN is really good. solution, sometimes it is not. So data rate we expect to be as less as possible. Because less data rate, it will be less battery consumption. So for example, connected car and cameras at home, not really suitable for the LoRa. But some other cases, for sure, yes. Like asset tracking, like smart building, like waste management, metering, gas, water metering. So these are all the cases where there is a small amount of data generated few times a day, and it's really enable you to make a system which is which enable you long battery life and all the benefits which is required. Okay, we pass through this. True. Bless you. We mentioned that maybe you will need, maybe you will not need IoT platform. So let's mention one case from Croatia. It's Croatian Telecom is really active and assertive in a smart city. They have approximately 20 smart city services which they actively offer on the market. Among them is smart parking. So they have cases where they have sensors on the parking which give them information, is it parking place available or it is not. It's really simple. For such simple case, probably you don't need an IoT platform. On the other side, they have electric vehicle charging station. They offer also this. They have in their smart city portfolio as well. So they have system which enables, which inform them, is the charging station in use or it is not. Again, if we watch just this, if we look at just this single standalone solution, it's really simple. But they don't have information. If parking place is occupied in front of charging station and charging station is not in use, it means it's illegal usage of a parking station because these parking stations are dedicated just for electric vehicles. They don't have these insights and they cannot react and send security to make a fee, make a ticket to the driver. So in such cases, you will need IoT platform. You will need some layer where you will be able to do correlation among the different systems, among the data taken from different systems. In this case, really simple, from parking and from electrical vehicle charging station. This can be much, much more complicated and you can get much, much more insight. If we talk about IoT platform, then in true solution, we're talking about several components within IoT platform. IoT platform is not simple. It's not just one application. It's much more than just application. You saw just one part of the IoT platform from Microsoft just right now, but in general, what we are talking about, data normalization, what that means. Sensor sends some numbers to your platform. This, if, for example, very simple, temperature sensor. It says you what is the temperature at a specific place from specific device at specific day of time. But it sends actually a bunch of numbers, bunch of digits. So you need to normalize this data to get the meaning to this data, to know that first digit is date, the second digit is hour, then minutes, then temperature, then location, device ID, etc. Most often, you will, even for the same purpose, you will not have just one type of sensor. You will have different type of sensor because after 1 year of deployment, you get offer from the competitors for a cheaper sensor. You deploy several thousands of different vendor sensors, which sends the same value, but not in the same order. So again, you will need to normalize this data to get the value which you really need. These are for really simple cases. Of course, according to GE, their jet engine has 3,000 sensors built in. So imagine what kind of normalization is behind that. After normalization, you have to think about device management. So all these sensors which you installed all over the city, all over the country, you need to have information about them. At least to, is it alive? Is it still sending data at expected time or somebody stole it or whatever? And what is the battery level if it is powered by battery? To know if it's coming to close to zero, that you need to replace either battery or whole the system. And think about 50 billion devices, you know. Not 10, not 20, thousands, 10,000, etc. All this data which you collected from devices and normalized need to be stored in some database. This database can be part of the IT platform, can be some external database. You have many solutions. Once you get data, data by itself doesn't give you any intelligence if you don't get out this intelligence out of this data. So you need some rule engine, you need, or better say, application enablement part, which will enable you to get inside of the data and make some intelligence out of the data. And according to the intelligence, you will be able to do some action. Because without action, all the story, all this, what we do, it's not much of use. At least to have some visualization and history, what is the behavior of some object, etc. So after defining what you will do with data, you need to visualize to end customer the history, the action, the real moment value, etc. As we mentioned, for this case in Croatian Telecom, of course, some analytic is needed to make correlation from the history data, from the existing data, and give additional insight out of all the system which is below and present this to the customer. Additional tools we are talking about, some part of the platform which enable you testing, versioning, etc. It's really nice to have. I saw there is a lot of developers here, so they would be happy with this. Of course, we said, don't forget integration with existing systems, with BSS, maybe big data systems, etc. So it needs to enables interfaces to the existing system, APIs, and to be able to integrate it with either existing systems or third-party applications which are on top of this platform if it's needed. We said probably we will have application enablement platform here, but sometimes you have existing applications for specific purpose which you don't want to replace by another application, you want to keep it. So the system needs to enable you to integrate existing application with IoT platform, and the data passed through all the stack from the sensor, saved here in the database, but still to be able to communicate with existing applications. When we talk about applications, yeah, okay, what we didn't mention here, you saw Microsoft Azure IoT platform. This is one of the biggest. You have also Amazon, you have Google IoT platform, IBM Bluemix, so all big vendors. Some of them enabling full stack, some of them still don't have this rule engine, application enablement. I would also mention one small company from the Ireland. It's called Avra Networks, who have their connecting full stack IoT platform, very, very flexible. Depends on the case you have. Once you define the problem you want to resolve, you will build the ecosystem with the proper vendors. In the application area, there are several possibilities. Sometimes the sensor you buy, for example, for the lighting, smart lighting, you can also get application together with sensor. They enable you access to their cloud solution, which will enable you to visualize all the data taken from the sensor and to control the street lights in this case. Also for the parking, World Sensing company primarily produce parking sensors, but also enables applications which works with these sensors. Sometimes you have already developed application that we sell, or for the specific purpose, you will take some development company who will build application for you. This is another option to deploy third-party application either on top of IoT platform if you have it, or directly take information from the sensors. What is also popular today is to having open data. So it means that you will be the one who deploy the sensors, collect all the informations, but you don't care of application, or not, at least not all the possible applications on top of the data. Data are there, you open them to the development community and then enable development community to make most out of this data, to be creative, to build application that they can think customer will be interested in, and this way you participate in part of the end-to-end solution and enable development community to do the rest. This can be also advanced in a sense, for example, what some telecoms are doing. They're collecting information, for example, in Croatian coast, they collect information like how many people from which countries registered by the mobile in the specific places. So this is such information to know how many Germans, how many English, how many Bosnians come to the, for example, Dubrovnik. Such information are interesting to some companies, and they are really ready to pay for this information. Of course, you can develop your own applications. So if you have IoT platform, probably you will use IoT platform to do it. We saw as from Microsoft how simple it is using IoT platform to develop really simple application, but you can do it by yourself from the scratch using the information you will get from the sensor. This communication part has network server, which you configure to tell him to which upper part, to which upper point you will send this information. So it can be to specific application, it can be to multiple applications, or it can be to IoT platform. Then IoT platform will take care of distributing data further if it's necessary. So if you don't use any of these options, then you still have option to develop application on top of IoT platform. I would just like to mention a few cases, IoT solutions which we faced so far. So first of all is SAP Leonardo. SAP Leonardo is a framework. So we know SAP is a big company, but this framework, what is enabling? It's enabling, or better say, when whatever is roadmap will be deployed, it will enable full stack of IoT platform. So it means normalization, enablement, analytic, repository, but visualization, but it also enable these pre-developed applications. So they already, for specific cases which they faced with their customers, they develop applications like connected products specifically for the products, for the assets, fleet, infrastructure, market, people. So they have already developed applications on top of the whole IoT platform. As it's about SAP, of course, there is a SAP HANA cloud platform below. The other really useful platform I would mention here is Cisco CDP. For the engineers, it's not Cisco Discovery Protocol. It used to be City Digital Platform, now is Smart and Connected Digital Platform. It is focused on smart city vertical of IoT. What is the beauty of this platform? That it enables you the full stack from the sensor to the application, whole solution for the specific cases in smart city environment. Which cases we are talking? We are talking about lighting, parking, traffic, environment, safety and security, and crowd. So if you are the city who have these needs, currently this is continually extended with new services, and you want to quickly provide the service, it will be really simple because you will negotiate just with one partner who will deploy the whole system for you, who has pre-built the whole stack, and you can be sure that everything is working fine. So this is basically my last slide. When we talk to the customer, when we talk to the partner, or to the people on such events, what we saw are the major concerns when we talk about IoT projects, what people are concerned of. Interoperability. We said that ecosystem is necessity. You don't have single vendor solution end-to-end. So, of course, interoperability is a big concern because you order sensor from one vendor, communication from the other, application from the third, or develop by yourself. Of course, you will be concerned, will it work together end-to-end? The only thing what you can do here is either to start with POC, and it's, in IoT, it really means start small, think big. You will not make initial deployment of 10,000 devices. You will start with 10 devices. When you're sure that it works, you will upgrade these to more and more. Some of the vendors, either for the communication part or IoT platform part, they have their marketplaces. And on their marketplaces, you can see what is certified approved equipment above or below in the full stack. And from that part, you can be sure that it will work together. Of course, you can always use experience from the other deployments. Your partners, your system integrators, other telecoms, whatever they did, you can be sure that it works. Second concern, do I need IoT platform or not? As we said, for a really basic deployments, standalone single solution, probably no. But really soon you will need at least part of the full stack of all these 8 components we mentioned. At least to have some database where all the information will have to be stored, normalization part, etc. So maybe at the beginning, no, but soon probably yes. For the many solution, you can choose between cloud or premise solution, or even to make hybrid solutions. So some part to be on-premise, some part to be in the cloud. If you want quickly to go to market, of course, cloud solution, it's a good choice because it will enable you without many implementation to start your service to offer to the customers. Keep in mind that even network server, IoT platform, and application, all things could be in cloud. So you might have some issue with integrating several cloud solutions together. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It is possible, but it will take some time to integrate everything together. Time to deploy. It really depends case by case, but in general, when you not completely new or where you have trustful partner, system integrator who's passing through this, then exploring, defining the issue we are resolving, it takes 4 days. Prototyping takes weeks, but deployment takes implementation months. So it's not something that will take you years. I mean, this is a long journey, as you said at the beginning, so you will always upgrade your system, adding new cases, adding new vendors, but initial deployments, in total, we are talking about months. And of course, often we come to the case that people say, show me the numbers. What is the TCO? What is the return of your investment? It's not simple to come to the numbers, particularly not if we talk about life improvements, but the methodology is approximately the same. Define expected outcome, which problem we resolve. Make assumptions. You will always have to do some assumptions. You will never have all the inputs which are required to make a really powerful business case. Define the architecture, establish the ecosystem, all the components required for the full stack, and calculate cost at the end. So this was in short. As I said, we have stand here. Please come to us. We can talk. We can continue the discussion. Is there any question now?
One or two questions.
Yeah.
Maybe one question. You made very complete presentation. Can you give us an example? For example, this Cisco solution. Where did you implement it? Was it on time, on your timeline? Was it?
We are currently preparing. Yeah. So the question is about Cisco CDP. Where is they implemented? We have Cisco representative here. But what? Okay.
There's like 3 pilots now. One is in Slovakia, one is in Romania, and one is actually in Dubrovnik, covering the parking spaces. This is like, which I know. Probably there are more, but...
We're preparing one more in Slovenia now. Yeah. Yeah. But real deployment, there is more than 100 cities all around the world deployed by the other partners, Cisco partners. So it's not just slide deck. It's much more than slide deck. It's real deployment. Okay. Thank you very much. We will be here.